presenting to you our baccalaureate speaker, Nancy Fredes. Since 2011, when Nancy's son Pete, whom we are also honored to have here today, was diagnosed with ALS, Nancy has devoted herself to the cause of increasing awareness about this disease and raising funds for research dedicated to finding a cure. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, in which many Endicott students and staff have participated in over the past year, was launched by the Fredes family and quickly became a social media fundraising phenomenon. In 6 months, the challenge raised $115 million for the ALS Association of the United States and over $220 million worldwide. A trustee of the ALS Association's national board, Nancy has traveled across the country carrying her message to senators and business leaders and building relationships with organizations involved in research and fundraising. Nancy and her husband John are lifelong residents of Beverly, Massachusetts, where they are heavily involved in the community. The Fredes have 3 children and 3 granddaughters. Please join me in welcoming Nancy Fredes.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Rossi Lee. President Wiley, trustees and faculty, parents and families of the class of 2015, and graduates of Endicott College class of 2015. It is my privilege to be included in your very special commencement weekend. My name is Nancy Fredes, and I am honored to tell you, yes, I'm Pete's mom. In 1974, I was a 17-year-old high school junior right here in Beverly, Massachusetts, not much younger than all of you, when my doctor told my parents that I needed to go to Boston for testing. So as my parents' oldest of 4 children, my mom got my 3 siblings a babysitter, and off we headed into the global medical epicenter for a battery of tests. After some time, we were told they had a diagnosis. Babysitter's back, me, my mom, and dad headed into the doctor's office. I can still see where we sat. My mom to my left, my dad to my right, and me in the middle on the examining table. My doctor walked in and was followed by 4 people, also in white coats. I didn't know any of them. He sighed, looked straight at me, and said, "We have reviewed all the testing, and I am sorry to say that it is cancer." I just sat with a blank look and really don't remember much other than my mother and father's reaction, the look of fear, and the audible, painful cry of my mother. Within a moment, my father asked the doctor, "Okay, now what? What do we do?" The doctor replied with 3 different treatment options. Well, as you can see, my treatment was a great success. Now flash forward 38 years. My middle child, Pete, a former Division I baseball player at Boston College who had traveled far and wide playing baseball, was now a 27-year-old corporate guy playing at night in the Boston Intercity League. In August 2011, Pete was hit in the wrist with a fastball, and his wrist was not healing. Over the next 6 months, Pete, who after graduating from college was living and working in Boston, went to various doctors, and in March 2012, he asked us, his parents, to go with him to a doctor's appointment where they had a diagnosis. We walked into the examining room and was followed by Pete's doctor and 4 other people in white coats. At this point, my brain quickly flashed back to that day in 1974. The scene was hauntingly familiar, except now I was the mom and my son was getting the diagnosis. The doctor sat down and started deliberately eliminating different diseases. Not a sprain, not infection, not Lyme disease, not MS. Then he looked straight at my son and said, "I don't know how to tell you this, Pete, but you have ALS." ALS, my mom's audible cry, was now my loss of breath. And when I composed myself, I asked the same question my father had asked. Okay, now what? What do we do? And here is where my two stories profoundly go in different directions. My son's doctor looked at me and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Frates. We have not been successful in the fight against ALS. There is no treatment, no cure, and the prognosis is 3 to 5 years." So our family convened later that day around our dinner table. Our daughter Jen and her husband came home from Manhattan, where they were living and working. My younger son Andrew, who had graduated Bentley, came home from his job in Boston. And Pete, he went and picked up his then girlfriend Julie, who today is his wife and mother of their 8-month-old daughter Lucy. We were all sitting quietly around the table when our leader spoke and set the vision. "Okay, people, there'll be no wallowing. We're looking forward, not backwards. This diagnosis, and especially the absence of any treatment, is totally unacceptable. I'm going to change the trajectory of this disease. What an opportunity we have been given to change the world." Over the next 3 years, this horrific disease has taken away all of Pete's physical functions. Today, Pete lives on machines. He is nourished, communicates, moves, and breathes, all with the assistance of amazing technology which keeps him with us. He now calls himself the Bionic Man, and during these last 3 years, just as he had been his whole life, he was our leader, the mentor, and the captain of his new team, the ALS community. I am proud to tell you that last summer, Pete's mission of creating ALS awareness for his disease community manifested itself into a grassroots global movement now and forever known as the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Now, everybody wants to focus on the Ice Bucket Challenge in terms of the phenomenon of social media, the lack of timing, the engagement of entertaining videos. But really, the reason for its success was very basic. It was rooted in a life well led, a life of servant leadership, a life of kindness and mentorship, a life filled with joy and love. Pete's life. His words of encouragement and inspiration to teammates was now a living testament to how he changed the world. Look to your right. Now look to your left. Don't play for yourself. Play for your teammate. Because when life throws you a curveball, they are the first ones who will be by your side. He had always led with kindness and by example. And when he stared down ALS, all the love and kindness he had lived his 27 years with came back, stood by him and said very loudly, "We are with you every step of the way." The real reason the Ice Bucket Challenge went viral was the commitment that all those teammates, classmates, co-workers, friends, and family had made to Pete. We are with you. Relationships, community, people helping people. After my treatment, I graduated college in 1980 and became very driven and focused. Because you see, in the 1980s, the buzzword was supermom. We, as college grads, were charged with doing it all, and of course, doing it all well. Well, I tried and failed miserably. You see, I had been given a gift. When you stare your own mortality straight in the face, you quickly become acutely aware of what is important in life. By the end of the 80s, I had gotten married and had 3 kids. I had turned in my corporate career and became an entrepreneur so that I could be flexible while raising my children. And as the 1990s approached, the new buzzword echoed my life's path: mummy wars. The debate as to why women can't have it all. The supermom had super failure in one or more areas that she had to be super in. The beginning of a change in our culture. By the 2000s, we had a new dynamic to complicate our lives: the digital age. No longer was work the thing taking us away from our priorities, our life, but now people were consumed with their computers, the internet. And then we had another buzzword: unplug. Unplug was not only used in the literal sense, but also as a metaphor for one's life. A sensibility was entering into our fast-paced, driven to financial success culture. And now, over the past couple of years, the latest buzzword: mindfulness. Mindfulness is the intentional, accepting, and non-judgmental focus of one's attention on the emotions, thoughts, and sensations occurring in the present moment. So what are you saying, Nancy? I bet you're all thinking. We're graduating college tomorrow. All we've been thinking about is our future. All my friends and I have been talking about is, what does my future self look like? Isn't that why I came to college? To get a job, make money, climb the ladder, achieve financial success. Well, while those are all important things, I'm here to remind you to be mindful. You see, to ensure your best future, you need to be your best present self. If you live your authentic self each day, the future will unfold before you. If you make decisions based on that authentic, present self as they approach, your future will be your own, one which is fulfilling and passionate. Now, I gave you a small tour of buzzwords, and what is funny, that even the word buzzword is rooted in a basic term. We used to call them cliches.